name is Kimberly Cadet, and I am a front desk assistant in the Advising and Career Services Department. I'm excited to be joined by Cheryl Francis-Nurse, who is the project lead of the Humber Learning Outcomes. Cheryl, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Kimberly. It's wonderful to be here. I am currently the coordinator of the Employability Skills Project, but my journey at Humber started some 14 years ago. I'm a faculty secondee. I started at Humber as a member of faculty, and I was program coordinator for the project management program. Since then, I've had the opportunity to be on secondment with the Center for Innovative Learning. We have had the opportunity to coordinate and be a facilitator of the Humber's Teaching Excellence Program, and that led me today to this very exciting opportunity where I get to coordinate Humber's Employability Skills Project.
Sounds impressive. Together, we will be discussing the Humber Learning Outcomes, or HLOs for shorts, exploring the significance and positive impact on students when they graduate and transition to the workplace. I have 7 questions for you, Cheryl. Please feel free to let me know at any point if you would like me to repeat or clarify any question. To start us off, can you share a bit of the background story around employability skills, such HLOs, and how they came to be? Why are these so important for Humber students?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. The HLOs actually started, or Employability Skills Framework, actually started back in 2020. This was a special initiative. And at the time, we were focused on, as a key priority in Humber's strategic plan, we were focused on developing career-ready citizens. And that meant, therefore, that we needed to ensure that our students were ready, future-ready, ready to take on the skills, challenges of the 21st century. We wanted to make sure that they were global citizens that were ready to make a difference in the workplace. With that in mind, we engaged many key stakeholders. So industry, faculty, or students, or student leaders like Ignite, career services, or program advisory committee members, to bring us into the space where we could talk about what was really key in terms of employability. And therefore, this was now known as Humber Learning Outcomes and our Employability Skills Framework. It is really, really important to underscore the fact that it was focused on ensuring that our students were not only ready to engage with Humber curriculum, but they were future ready. They're ready to engage with industry and to make a difference, to be productive citizens, and to really be successful both personally and professionally. So now we have our institutional learning outcomes called Humber Learning Outcomes, or our employability skills.
Sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The HLOs seem that they will help with students' employability in the workforce while maintaining their responsibility as good and engaged citizens. Can you speak to this?
Absolutely. See, employability is not just about having a job. It is truly about having the right mindset, skill sets in order to be adaptable, in order to contribute, in order to make sure that you're learning and advancing, in order to be better citizens. And therefore, this particular framework, the employability skills strategy, the HLOs, they're really true differentiators for students, because now our graduates are able to articulate to employers, right, the key skills and mindsets that they have been able to garner, to gain during their journey here at Humber. I think it cannot be overstated, the importance of employability skills. And I like to think about this from the perspective of not just Humber, our institution, but their significance when you think about employability from a global perspective, from a national perspective, from a provincial perspective even. And I say that because I spend a lot of time looking at reports like those done by the World Economic Forum. And this is a body that actually brings together thought leaders from across the world. And they're focused on looking at the real significant issues that are impacting us globally. So think about thought leaders from industry, from academia, right? From civil society, all sectors. And this international organization is a public-private organization that they're cooperating together to fix these big issues. So think sustainability and climate change, global healthcare, and pandemic preparedness, the future of work and education, digital transformation. And the World Economic Forum, they put out a list of core employability skills that will impact the labor market. And so you have the global framework that we're aligned to, but you also have our own provincial government. And they're essential employability skills that our provincial government outlined for our graduates to be successful in work and life. So at Humber, we're preparing our students well beyond the boundary of this institution. It's not just about the technical skills that they gain based on a particular discipline or area of study, but it's also about those transcendent qualities, those values, those competencies, those attributes that our students require in order to be successful. It's about being more productive citizens. It's about the impact that they will have as they move beyond the boundaries of Humber. So without question, employability skills are crucial to the success of all our graduates.
Yeah, that's true. How will Humber encourage students to do the HLOs certificate other than promoting them on their websites? Additionally, other than completing the online modules, how else can students focus on the development of these employability skills?
That, true, is really important for students to be aware of. What we have right now is a website called the My Employability Journey. And up to this semester, students were able to access our e-learning modules that you're referring to through that website. And I should say that there was a vigorous testing that took place when we created these resources for students, and we had some 75 student testers that participated when we created that My Employability Journey website. However, we're evolving, and that's very important to note. As of this semester, those crucial resources will be available through our learning management system, Blackboard. So imagine every student at Humber will be able to log into Blackboard. They'll be able to get access to these bonus modules, and those modules will be organized based on their faculty. So if you're in the longer faculty of business, then you'll be able to access those modules through your academic faculty. But it's very important to note what this is. We have each module that's associated with a mindset or one of our skills in action. So all 12, there are 12 modules, each about 1 hour long. But the really important thing for students to be aware of is that it's self-paced, it's asynchronous. It means, therefore, that you can log on at any time and get access to this material. But also, a very important component is what happens at the end. When you've completed a module, you have the opportunity to download a certificate. And that certificate would be something that you could potentially upload to LinkedIn. It could be a key differentiator for job searches. So imagine you have the option of doing 1, 5, 6, 12, all 12 if you'd like, based on your interests and certainly the skill set that you're trying to reinforce. It's also important to note that the student can also include the HLOs, the skills, the activities around the Humber Learning Outcomes on their co-curricular records. So therefore, it's another way of reinforcing to the employer what you have achieved in terms of employability skills in your journey at Humber. And I think another part of the question also talked about how else the students can get access to or these skills, these mindsets. Well, there are many, many ways. And I'm really happy as I go along my journey and I speak to different members of faculty and different departments, etc. It's really about talking about how they have been embedding HLOs on the learner journey. So a student potentially could be able to reinforce these skills in work-integrated learning opportunities like internships and co-ops, through applied research opportunities, through their capstone projects, which many, many students do across Humber, through our 5 centers of innovation. And they're doing incredible work focused on experiential learning. So imagine in the Barrett Center for Technology Innovation, where their projects are on robotics, or in in the Longo Center for Entrepreneurship, where they're doing hackathons. So students are actually reinforcing these key skill sets: problem solving, collaboration, professionalism, the key mindset sets, systems thinking. All of those are available to our students through those various projects. And we also have many collaborative partnerships. You know, one that comes to mind immediately, and it was in the news, was this award-winning project, which came out of the Longo Faculty of Business, student-led project called Enactus Reshade. So imagine this. Students were able to take makeup, use makeup that we would be discarding, and through applying those key skills, they were able to transform the makeup into paint that will be utilized in various places like shelters, etc., an actual product. Think about all the mindsets and the skills that were actually applied. Of course, sustainability, right? We're saving, right? So all that used makeup that would have gone elsewhere. And we know how that is in terms of ensuring that we are reducing waste. So they're very focused on sustainability. But at the same time, they were working collaboratively. They were building problem-solving skills. They were focused on systems thinking. And it is also the type of initiative that can be scaled up, that can make a significant difference in the world. So truly, these employability skills are not just about self-interest, but it's about the collective good. So our students can be better and productive citizens.
That's pretty cool that you the project was there to give a life to makeup again.
Absolutely. Really an absolutely incredible example, right?
Yeah.
Of how the activities and the projects and the opportunities that our students have access to here can actually build and reinforce these employability skills.
So I am currently doing a placement at a vintage fashion store, and whenever I go there, like after every shift, like the placement manager, she's always telling me to like record what I did, and I'm usually recording the skills that I've done using like the HLO skills.
Absolutely. And in fact, there are opportunities like this that you can now add to your co-curricular record that becomes a part of your resume that really makes for a key differentiator as you do your job searches in the future. So incredible. I'm glad to hear that you're doing that.
How does faculty ensure that the program material and courses follow the Humber Learning Outcomes?
Yeah. Well, faculty actually are very key to the success of this initiative. And faculty will help to promote the HLOs and the employability skills in their own spaces, in their classrooms, integrating it into the curriculum. So we really depend on faculty to help to build awareness, but also to engage with the HLOs and to embed it into curriculum. So there are several different ways in which we can do this. But let me first say that the faculty themselves, as we evolve the HLOs, will have access to the same resources on their faculty resource site on Blackboard. So they'll be able to see and engage with the resources that our learners and our graduates are able to see. Now, here's the other thing about this. As faculty are engaging with HLOs, they have the opportunity to themselves, right, engage with it as part of their professional practice. So if a faculty member chooses to actually complete the modules, they can do that alongside their students. So it's really interesting. And many of them have actually done this, and they're really excited to have the opportunity to have access to the same set of resources that we have embedded in Blackboard. But here's how we actually utilize this in the classroom in a very, very structured way. Every course outline, right, includes mapping to HLOs. So our key learning outcomes can be mapped to HLOs. So if you look at your course outline, and I encourage you to do that, you should see that there are some key Humber Learning Outcomes employability skills mapped there. That the expectation is in this course, you'll be reinforcing these key mindsets or these key skills in action. And that's one way. But the other thing is this. With our faculty, we're constantly including through the Center of Innovative Learning and other areas of Humber, we're actually ensuring that we're enforcing these, we're engaging them, we're having workshops around HLOs so that we can think about how we can apply them to benefit our learners. So there's that opportunity. There's an opportunity also for faculty when they're embedding their HLOs to work with subject matter expertise. So if you have a subject matter expert in sustainability, right, or if you are looking to have systems thinking embedded in your curriculum, and you'd like some support to do that, there are subject matter experts that we can actually pair with faculty and with the academic faculties themselves. We can do it at the course level, we can do it at the program level, we can do it at academic faculty where we're giving guidance and support to faculty so that they're able to work with us to create more opportunities for the students by leveraging the HLOs. There's something else that we do. I have the privilege of co-facilitating the Teaching Excellence Program. Now, the Teaching Excellence Program actually is for faculty development. All full-time faculty members will have the opportunity to go through the Teaching Excellence Program. We embed on a weekly basis conversations around HLOs. All topics, all subjects, all activities are aligned to the Humber Learning Outcomes. Therefore, our faculty are immersed in HLOs, and therefore the idea is that as you move through the Teaching Excellence Program and back to your classroom, we're seeing HLOs come alive. But this is a journey, and we will be engaging more in awareness building. We will be talking to faculty and demonstrating exemplars, ways in which we can utilize and embed HLOs in our curriculum. In November, this will be a very important month for us because we'll be formally launching, the evolution of the HLOs, the things that we have been talking about, and we'll be working closely with faculty at the time to ensure that there's increased engagement, that we're embedding more HLOs in the curriculum, that there are more opportunities for students, for example, in capstones, etc. Therefore, what we expect is that as we move through the next few months, we're going to be seeing more and more activities around HLOs. And we have a robust communication plan, so stay tuned because you're going to be seeing exemplars, faculty members telling their stories. In fact, we already have started this journey. We're on our in innovative learning, we've created a website, HLOs in Action, and we're already seeing some faculty perspectives. But in November, we're going to have new videos, new stories. And as we move forward, we're going to be sharing them across the institution so that you'll see what faculty are actually doing in order to better prepare our key stakeholders or learners to be ready for the job market and to be successful both professionally and personally.
Sounds exciting. Speaking of faculty embedding the HLO skills onto this course outlines, you could also see that when you're viewing the slides that they upload on Blackboard, there are these learning outcomes, and I can definitely see the HLO skills being incorporated.
Yes,
in those.
absolutely. And and I'm so glad that you have identified that, you've recognized that, and I know the faculty will be happy to hear that because we have conversations in innovative learning where we talk about curriculum design and in the teaching excellence program about a concept called backward course design, where we think about that learning outcome. We start with what do we expect the student to be able to do, right? To know, to value. That could be a mindset like sustainability, right? And therefore we start there and then we build our learning activities and our assessments around that. And so the learning outcome is crucial, and certainly we can align key learning outcomes to our mindsets and our skills.
What is the purpose of putting the HLO as symbols?
Oh, these incredible symbols.
Yeah.
So you could start by simply saying, wow, the visualization is certainly great for learners to be able to identify, right, the HLOs, but it's much deeper than that. Think about where we are, where we're situated as Humber. On the Humber River Valley, here we are, on a land that has a lot of history. Imagine as we try to honor our indigenous people who themselves are custodians of this land, inhabitants of this land. We have thought about using the HLOs to represent that history, that rich history. So this is, imagine in fact, the river, the Humber River. Imagine its interconnectedness. Imagine the fact that it provides nutrients. So that was the actual concept that one thought about. We thought about the fact that Humber, where it's situated, we thought about the fact that we really needed to honor our indigenous people. And therefore, what we have done is to use that to inform these symbols or these images. And so that interconnectedness is really important in learning and development. And so these symbols are an opportunity for us to think about how HLOs themselves can interconnect and provide our students with those elements, the nutrients, for them to thrive, to grow, to advance, and to make a difference. Really. So the key thing here in terms of those symbols is the honoring of where we are, where we're situated, and of course, our indigenous people and what they bring to this space. And so it's really, really special. So it's not just about being able to identify and visualization, but it's really about the relationship that we have with this land and the relationship with our indigenous people.
I'm pleased that you are honoring the indigenous along with their land.
Very, very important. At Humber, as you've been here, so you know how important it is. I mean, for us to make sure that we embrace, appreciate, and certainly respect all that we have benefited from in terms of indigenous ways of being, knowing, and doing, and our indigenous people.
Exactly. Describe a time where you use one of the HLO skills in your role as a faculty/project lead at Humber. What did you learn from that?
Well, it's very interesting that you called me a project lead because project management is in my DNA. That's who I am. I'm a project manager. And as I mentioned to you before, in the 14 or almost 14 years that I've been at Humber, right, almost 12 of those years I spent in the project management graduate certificate program. And there I had the opportunity to apply project-based learning. And what is really important in project-based learning is the reinforcement of key skills, mindsets. So think, for example, collaboration. Think strategic problem solving. Think about systems thinking. Key things that you must have, right? Characteristics as a project manager. One of the things I'm most proud about, actually, is what I call the alternative capstone project. So I would spend time with members of the team, just really engaging others. I'd look across Humber College for various projects, real life projects, or engage members of industry where there may be a project that would be launched, and then what we would negotiate, have conversations with Humber or with industry representatives to get our students involved in those projects. Now imagine then that a student will be working on a real world project, creating project deliverables. There are multiple HLOs that would be reinforced there. Some I've already mentioned. But as they build their skills as practitioners working on real project deliverables, they were reinforcing employability skills, which means, therefore, that they're future ready. And I can even think of another specific course example, and that is my project procurement management course. In procurement management, I had almost 80% international students. So I wanted to reinforce indigenous ways of being, knowing, and doing. And so what I did was this. I took my case study, right, and I decided that I would include in it a deliverable, which was based on the creation, right, the commissioning, actually, of an indigenous cultural marker. Aha. Now, students were, what is this deliverable about? And so I would have the opportunity to walk my students just on site visits to the Barrett Center for Technology Innovation. There's a beautiful Indigenous marker. They're able to do research. They were able to identify with it and then convert that into a real project deliverable. With that, all of those students left my project procurement management class with a clear understanding and a reinforcement of this very, very key mindset. There are many examples like that. And as I mentioned before in our Teaching Excellence program, on a weekly basis, we embed HLOs, employability skills, in our conversations, in our activities. So I am very passionate about employability skills.
I can see that. Okay, final question. Out of all the 12 skills, which one would you say is the most important one for graduates to have and why?
Well, that's a very interesting question because here's my answer to that. They're all very important. And they complement each other. They reinforce each other. In fact, emphasis on a particular employability skills, mindset, skill, it's based on your context, it's based on your industry, it's based on your role, but all are crucial. So imagine that in any given situation, right? I may be, let's say, equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging will be very important. Creating an environment that's fair, right? That's inclusive. That is something that cannot be overstated. It's crucial. Sustainability, thinking about our collective good. System thinking, trying to effect change, right? Through interconnectedness, looking at multiple perspectives. All of these, sustainability, all of these are important. But then if you were to look also at the skills in action, digital fluency, how crucial can that be in today's digital age? Professionalism, collaboration. We all need to be able to engage others as we enter industry. So they're all crucial. One of my favorites, though, is critical thinking. It's a key transferable skill that's needed across disciplines. So the ability of our students to be curious, to probe, to display objective analysis and evaluation when they form judgment. That's the kind of meta skill that actually unpacks or enables other skills. I think critical thinking unlocks, for example, other skills such as strategic problem solving, collaboration, communication. So if I were to go back to my first statement, all 12 are important, are crucial. All 12 are needed for our students, our graduates, to succeed professionally and personally. And they're crucially important to move us beyond self-interest, to really think about something I said earlier, the collective good.
Exactly. Personally, I think of communication as like an important skill, as like a person who is about to like pursue a career in the fashion retail industry, because like you had to like answer questions from customers and ensure that they are satisfied with what you're serving to them.
Absolutely. And in the fashion industry, actually, I mean, many of these skills will be important. You will be collaborating. You're going to be displaying professionalism. Right? You'll probably be looking for opportunities around sustainability. So you will be embodying what we want our Humber graduates to embody. These key mindsets and skills are definitely making a difference.
Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl, for taking the time out of your day to discuss the Humber Learning Outcomes. I truly appreciate you answering my questions and providing such thoughtful input.
Thank you. I'm glad you found it of value, and I would be more than happy, right, to certainly engage with you, visit with you, and participate in your activities in the future. It's been wonderful to meet you, Kimberly, and thank you for coming to the North Campus.
Thank you.